Joining me now is Congresswoman Sara Jacobs of California. Congresswoman, Happy New Year. Thanks for joining us. Look, this is going to sound like a broken record because we kind of went through this with the 118th, but House Republicans, they've got their work cut out for them. They got to fund that government by March 14th, pass Trump's agendas on immigration, energy, and taxes, extend the debt ceiling with warnings from Janet Yellen already about a crisis. What are the odds that they're going to be able to get that all done with such a razor-thin margin?
Look, I think what yesterday showed us is that this Republican majority is just like the one we had in the 118th. They are unable to govern, and they are not serious about actually making progress on the issues affecting the American people. And so, House Democrats remain ready to have bipartisan conversations, making sure that we are doing the work of the American people. I know I was elected to still get things done for my community, even amidst all of this chaos. And that's what we're going to keep trying to do. But I think it's clear that Donald Trump controls the Republicans in the House, and that, they are going to be having just the same chaos and dysfunction that we've seen for the past 2 years.
Congresswoman, new year, hopefully some change. I understand that we might be stuck in a rut when it comes to the dysfunction on the other side, but let's talk about this. According to NBC News analysis, this 119th Congress, it's the third oldest since 1789, with an average member age of 58.9 years old. You were the youngest representative from California when you took office in 2021. So with Congress getting older, what are you doing? How are you working to give the younger generations a much-needed voice in Congress?
This is such an important point. And, I think young people really are a big part of what happened in this election. And I think what we need to understand is that for folks in my generation, in Gen Z, the generation younger, right, a lot of us, we grew up under the haze of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, the forever wars. I was in middle school when September 11th happened. And then we survived the Great Recession, and then COVID happened. And I think making sure that we're actually showing that government can deliver on the things impacting young people. I know for a lot of folks, that's the cost of living, particularly housing, and now for my generation, childcare. And making sure that we're actually talking about the things that matter to young people is going to be really important. And showing that we understand, Katie, I think we've talked before, one of my signature bills is called the My Body, My Data Act, and it's all about protecting period tracking app data information. And that really came about because I use a period tracking app myself, and I realized that this data wasn't protected. And so I think, a lot of us younger members are getting together and trying to figure out how we can continue being that voice, even amidst the sort of situation that we're in right now.
Quickly, before I have to let you go, though, I do want to follow up with that, though. It's one thing to have a conversation with me and maybe with the other younger members of Congress and maybe with the people that are constituents. But my question is, how is it being received internally? How is it being received with some of the older members of Congress within even your own party to try to effect the change that this election clearly showed we need?
It's a good question, and I will say I've had some very interesting conversations with my colleagues. For instance, when I was introducing this bill, I became the first member of Congress to talk about my own period on the House floor. And, I had to explain that, yes, we track our periods. Yes, there's apps that help us to do that. Here's how they work. But I will say among the Democratic leadership, I have found real interest in reaching out to us younger folks and making sure that they understand what we're hearing from our peers, because I think we all understand that young people deserve a voice. They need a voice. And if we don't give them a voice, we're going to continue seeing the kinds of elections that we just saw.
Congresswoman Sara Jacobs, I'm always so grateful for your advocacy. I may not be as young as you, my friend, but I do know that you're always fighting the good fight for all of us. So thanks for being here. I appreciate it.